Quiet. I have an important announcement. Today, I have ordered nuclear strikes on Iran. Why? Because I'm bored and you are insatiable when it comes to Jeffrey, and we need a news cycle speed up. Of course, I could change my mind in the next few minutes, but this is a circus, and I am the trolling ringmaster. Enjoy the show, and don't forget to like and subscribe your way to freedom. Thank you, that is all. Hey, Howard, let's hit up Miriam for some more of that cashola.
Buenos dias, Internet amigos. Well, it's been a little while. Let's do a full summary. Straits of Hormuz, Ebola outbreaks, explosions in Texas. Whoa, what's going on there? Is this another apartment block explosion a la Vladimir Putin? We don't know. This is a short summary of what's going on. They're laughing at Trump for demanding an Abraham Accords. I guess Israel's in trouble. No Abraham Accords. They'll need a giant US base in Israel to protect Israel.
Breaking from Washington, a shocking revelation. The Trump administration is reportedly planning a massive U.S. military base in Gaza, a sprawling, fortified installation covering 350 acres and capable of housing 5,000 troops. Blueprints reviewed by The Guardian detail a fortress of armored watchtowers, protective bunkers, a small arms firing range, warehouses brimming with operational equipment, and barbed wire perimeters, a compound built for dominance and control. This installation is designed to serve as the operational headquarters for a future international stabilization force, a multinational military contingent operating under the newly created Board of Peace, chaired by U.S. President Donald Trump, with Jared Kushner in a central leadership role. Indonesia has reportedly pledged up to 8,000 troops, and more than 20 nations have joined the board, yet skepticism lingers. Questions remain about the ISF's rules of engagement, its role in confronting Hamas, and the true scope of authority granted to Trump under the board's charter. The proposed site lies on a barren, saltbush-strewn stretch of southern Gaza, scarred by years of bombardment, a landscape already marked by conflict, now set to host one of the largest U.S. military operations in the region.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to blow my own horn a little. Brendon O'Connell may get timings wrong. Timing's always difficult. I told you Ahmadinejad was number one to lead Iran months ago. We're going to go over all that. They are definitely trying to get Ahmadinejad killed now, but everything's going perfectly. I know eggs are expensive. I know you're struggling. Australian friends are telling me it's crazy. I like hearing these stories because I stop feeling sorry for myself as I go down and have more cheesecake down at the cafe, and I have put on weight, unfortunately, but such is life. Poor Brendon. But ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, it's not going well if you're getting bombs dropped on you from somewhere. In Lebanon, Israel's not going anywhere. Israel will, whether you like it or not, will be a protectorate of the United States. It will have giant US bases there. The Middle East will settle one way or the other so the Arabs can have a break. You know, Iran always gets treated pretty lightly compared to the Arabs, if you haven't noticed. The Trump administration, for all its sins, and you know I don't like Trump personally for multiple reasons, we all get it.
I want to talk about Brendon O'Connell. This Australian dissident in Mexico has caused enough trouble, and I have ordered a nuclear strike on his location very strongly. I am very pleased with this decision. It's going to be great, so good for everyone. No more local AI productions for that handsome madman in exile.
But it's going well. Are there problems? That's an understatement. Yeah. Data centers, techno-oligarchy, Peter Thiel, all the gay boys running around pretending to be Catholic conservatives. There are clearly a lot of problems. But there will be no zombie apocalypse. There will be no collapse of the US dollar. Are things coming in that need to be talked about? Yes. But please get out of your head. You're not going to catch Ebola. There will be ups and downs. You survived 2008 and you will survive this. Ladies and gentlemen, let us attend. And then a short message from Pete Hegseth. Yes, Pete Hegseth has personally warned myself and Lee. Let us attend.
In cyber is a real domain of power. In cyber is a real domain of power.
This is a message for Brendon O'Connell and Lee Levino. If you keep up this local AI horse pukey, making me and the president look foolish, we have a few spare F-35s to send your way. Regarding Iran, I confess we are scared. They have beards, they have AKs, they have excellent chicken and rice with saffron. Now, back to the circus. Thank you for your service, Brendon.
Well, thank you, Pete. No need to be like that. That is locally produced on my own computer. No internet, nothing. These are training models that Lee Levino, the great Lee Levino, the incredible Lee Levino, apparently The Atlantic might still be publishing that interview in June, but we doubt it. Regardless, Lee does the training models. We've got Pete Hegseth, we've got Donald Trump, we've got Candace on.
You are a very bad man, Brendon O'Connell. Ha 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 ha. Happy Friday, Internet Amigos. Now, Brendon, please be kind to me and don't make me say silly things like I work for the City of London, energizing American public opinion against a war on the globalist asset, Iran. I will spank you if you say that. Oh, hey, Tucker. Oh my God. It's so hard. I spend so much time counting all the money. Ugh.
We've got Tucker Carlson.
Brendon O'Connell is insane and no one can work with him. I have a small company with 27 staff with Don Jr. as a core member. Not sure how that works. But seriously, with Rebecca Mercer on the board of my LLC and Cambridge Analytica behind her and SCL Group and NATO psych warfare operations, I'm sure no one will notice my narrative is the same as City of London. Leave globalist Iran alone, O'Connell.
And soon we'll have Peter Thiel, every character, and with the tips of my fingers, I make them dance like a puppet. Yeah, baby. Lee's doing great work. He's renting supercomputers. He's renting $30,000 GPUs online to do the training data. And this guy is going places. Thank you very much to David.
Is O'Connell still alive? To the goy who gave that 5080 graphics card to Lee Levino, we will find you, I promise, or my wife is not a psychologist, okay?
Our Spanish-speaking friend, he sent Lee $1,400 US, and Lee now has a 5080 graphics card. It's not a 5090. That's so expensive. But one day, the video memory is everything. He's going to get a 5090 eventually and really start doing some world-class stuff. So thanks again to David. Thank you to the supporters. I realize I've been a bit of an ass lately. I've apologized to Mary. It's all right. We'll get there eventually. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now get into what the hell is going on in the world. I have a voiceover. It's really a voiceover. It's coming. There's a proper voiceover, life, universe, everything. It's coming. This is a catch up. We'll get this done. Let's talk about what's going on. So first off, let's watch a 3-minute video of Donald Trump. He's going to talk about getting the Arab states like Saudi and others and Pakistan and others to recognize Israel. Remember when I told you that things that are not represented in the press, you will only understand and when you speak to Arabs and Iranians, is the Shia Sunni split and how much Iranians hate Arabs. And I've shown you countless times before where the guy's going, let's destroy Israel. And he goes, no, not necessary. Saudi. You've got to understand. If you don't understand, because it's not shown, I can't find it anywhere on an English-speaking video. I'm sure it's somewhere, but where you need to understand the Sunni Shia split. Now, Muslims don't get it, or the world over, but especially Arabs and Iranians get it. And once you understand the nuclear weapons are actually really about threatening Saudi. I guarantee you the nuclear stuff has been given to them by Israel, which is really City of London. So when we say Israel or China, we mean City of London. When we say Canada, we mean City of London. When we say Australia, we mean City of London. Generally, not fully, but Canada's totally in the bag, Carney. Totally in the ridiculous City of London bag, along with China. And Israel. So when we say Israel's actually not, but when we talk about Israel, it's under the US elite's control. China's going to get there eventually. Well, they're needed as the official enemy. But when we understand the tension that's going on right now, the whole Iran operation is about the City of London. They're going to starve the European Union, World Economic Forum, and the City of London of their oil and gas. That's what they're doing. This is not even about Iran personally. There's multiple backends. It's about getting leverage over China and the EU. Now the United States will dominate the Straits of Hormuz. Previously, Iran did. And Iran is a globalist lackey. It's not a plucky little fighter fighting the establishment. No, it's always been a plucky little globalist creation with Ayatollah Khomeini coming out of Paris, a Paris village. It's not a commune. Apparently, all their municipalities are called communes. That's where I got the commune from. But commune is their term for municipality. Funny that. Anyway, the Ayatollah comes out of a Paris village where heaps of leftists are all hiding out. Hardcore leftists, famous communists, and he comes out of there and he lands back after the Shah starts speaking out about Jewish power. And now books are coming out about it. I told you, books and documentaries will come out. I was there in Iran for 3 months. I saw it all. You don't have to be a geopolitical analyst. It's really obvious. It's full of drugs. Drugs are everywhere. They want the drugs there to keep the youth down and busy. It's not what you think it is. The corruption is out of control. Everyone's sick of them. They're sick of the clerics. They're sick of the Ayatollah. And the only man to ever speak out was, of course, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. So now that people are laughing and, Iran controls the Straits. Yeah, if you believe Iran controls the Straits, this is about extending this out, putting pressure on the EU and China. That's all it is. And Trump's going to make a ton of money along the way. And of course, they're putting bases in Israel. So once you understand that Israel with China was assisting Iran with a nuclear weapon, once you get that, that was to threaten Saudi Arabia and the UAE. So they could play off the hadiths. The hadiths are like a book adjoined to the Quran. It's separate to the Quran. These are like commentaries on the Quran. And it says 70,000 Jews from Isfahan, that's Iran, when they come into the Arab lands, that will signal the arrival of the Mahdi army and the Dajjal and the fight against the Antichrist. And that is being played off as Armageddon, as Israel as the Holy Land has been played off by that Soviet Union / City of London, Hofjuden EU operation. Now you see, I said, with the removal of the threat against Saudi UAE, I said, there's no need for Abraham Accords. It's not going to happen. And you see Trump going, I wish people would make a deal. He doesn't care about a deal. It's just more leverage. It's about telling Israel and the Jewish vote and the Zionist vote and a whole range of people, you need America in the Middle East. The only people that don't want America in the Middle East are Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and a whole range of people. And guess who? The City of London. The only people complaining about this Iran war are Tucker and the City of London. You will work out Tucker Carlson eventually, particularly now that we've AI modeled him, we'll be doing some funny clips. We'll get the message across. But now you're beginning to understand. So let's watch this. Let's watch this now. Look at Trump. Now, Trump is I can't stand him, but as a disruptor, as a troll agent, as a mechanism for messing with people's heads, he's perfect. But I think we've all had enough. But let's watch. So watch his body language.
Accept an agreement with Iran that just calls for further talks on the uranium? Or
No.
The only option?
No, the basics. No, I would for some of it, because it's a memorandum of understanding for Smead. Now, one of the things that will happen is the strait will open immediately, but it's got to be perfect. I'm not going to do this. I didn't do this to get a crummy agreement. The worst agreement ever signed was by Barack Hussein Obama. What a horrible agreement that was. It was
with John Kerry and Zarif. Okay, and Rouhani, 6 years in Scotland, best friends with the Lord Jacob Rothschild's friends. Remember? That was a deal Obama put up. And there was a lot of other things going on. The New York Times was organizing tours for Americans to go to Iran in January 2017. I was in Tehran at the time, and all the newspaper articles from Australia and everywhere were so positive. Iran's wonderful, all these new agreements. But then we all know what happened. And they knew Trump was getting in, by the way. They actually asked me in 2016 before the election, October 2016. They said, who do you think will win? We're having chai, tea, sugar cubes. They've got a big diabetes problem in Iran, as they have in Mexico. Very nice people. I mean, you hear me criticize Iran, but I met wonderful people there. Wonderful people everywhere. There's assholes everywhere. And they're very, very polite. The buildings were all worn because they spent so much money on these ballistic missiles. They cost 20,000 euros a pop. And he said, who do you think will win the election? I said, Trump by a landslide. And he went, yes. Like, yeah, we agree with you. So remember, at that stage, Trump was doomed. Hillary Clinton was going to get in. But even Iran seemed to know something was up because that was part of the deals to break off the US from the Middle East, withdraw out of Eurasia. That was Trump's job under Kissinger. Well, now we see a lot of things have changed, haven't they?
A setback for this country, for the whole world. The Middle East would have blown itself up. No, and we'd like to have the countries we were talking about with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and the others. We'd like to have them immediately join and Steve Witkoff is working on that with Jared and some others, but would like to have them join the Abraham Accords. It'll be historic if they do it. And I think they owe that to us, to be honest. I think because that really would be a tremendous sign. And I think those countries owe it to us. Steve, are you going to get them to sign?
We're definitely pushing it.
I'm not sure.
They have no intentions of getting them to sign. They don't want them to sign. They don't want the Abraham Accords. They want, let's get that picture up, shall we? Let's get the picture up I told you about. That is the old picture. That's the old picture. I own everybody, Lord Jacob. There was greater Israel, all as one. That was the original plan that they were going to do over time. We're talking 10, 20 years. But they were going to build that slowly. And there was, remember, the Persian Empire was coming after the Arabs. All right? That, once you understand, that's why Iran was created, for this dialectic, to control the bunting cloverleaf map. Remember, they're scared of local populations. They're scared of those Saudi bright young colonels and those bright young colonels in Kuwait and the border controls and the guards. They're very scared of them. They have to get them on board by saying, the Iranians, the Persians are coming. 70,000 Jews from Isfahan. We have to do a deal with Israel. It's sad. You got to understand, the leaders are in the bag. MBS is a vile, disgusting, coke-snorting piece of crap, pretend Wahhabis. He's just disgusting. And there you would have the Persian Empire. And when I was in Tehran talking to the Persian Gulf Study Center, that's Iranian analyst, the lawyer told me that we will be handling the stands. See all that? We will be handling the stands. It's big. And that's when I went, ding, it's the Belt and Road. Oh my God, it's the Belt and Road. Now they're going to change it from that to this. That's what they want there. So it'll be some form of federated states, very loose states. And see that picture there with Hexeth? That's to scale. There will be Saudi, Syria, and there's going to be little Bibi. And there will be Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Remember when you laughed at me? Remember when 4 months ago, I said he is the logical leader to hold it together? They need a balance. They need a hardliner who's also a reformer, who understands demographics, and then to very slowly transition the whole region, including Saudi. I mean, they're not going to have gay nightclubs and water slides near Mecca. That's not happening. But there will be a loosening up and some form of democracy, whatever, pretend two parties, whatever. There'll be some form over time, a very long, slow process. And people laughed at me. Then even, sorry, I've forgotten his name because it's so hard to pronounce. I'm sorry, my friend, Geopolitics and Empire. And he got back to me and said, no, I get it now. I thought you were crazy. And I went, yeah, now that I've looked him up and studied him, you're right. Thank you. Now, that's the map they want now. That's what's going to happen. And that's why, as we'll see, why they're putting bases in Israel. Look, and please, if you see anybody else pushing this and explaining this, let me know. I'm definitely seeing the bunting cloverleaf map, thank you, coming out more and more. The multipolar world order, for crying out loud. What's the name of that woman, Dana Loesch or something? She's talking multipolar world order and the isolationism and how it's not happening. And I'm thinking it's slowly getting out there, but it's painful. But let's get back. But you get it. That's the map, right? That is the new map to scale. There's the Pentagon, Saudi, Syria, and little Bibi. And Bibi's going to be vulnerable, so they're going to need great big base, US bases in there, which I said back in February 2020, remember?
I'm not sure we should make the deal if they don't sign. You want to know the truth. If they don't sign to join the Abraham Accords, I don't know that we have countries in there already. UAE, great countries, bold countries, and it's turned out to be so good, so effective, and so we're requesting strongly that they they join. It'll be great. It'll be great for Saudi Arabia. It'll be great for Qatar and Kuwait, the whole group.
So the Iran deal might be contingent on more countries joining.
I don't know. I don't want to say that. I'm not going to give you, what's contingent, what's not. I can say that we can make a good deal right now, but maybe not a great deal. And if it's not a great deal, we're not making it. So because we can make a great deal with this guy right here, and but it's it's a lot nastier. Probably wouldn't go as quickly. We wouldn't be talking about it as quickly, but it would be foolproof. But I think we're doing very well, Steve. I think we're doing pretty well in terms of the negotiation, but we'll see. If it's not going to be a real deal, because Obama had that horrible JCPOA, whatever it was the worst deal. It was a path for Iran to have a nuclear weapon very quickly. Years ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon. We might not be here talking about it right now. They would have had a nuclear weapon. And frankly, Obama picked the wrong country. He should have picked another country. I won't tell you what it was. But he picked the wrong country when he picked Iran. But we have things understood now with Iran. It's been nasty. They've lost their leaders. They've lost. And it really is regime change. We didn't set out for regime change. But by the fact that we're dealing with a totally different group of people than we were at the beginning. And frankly, I find them to be much more reasonable. I actually find them to be smarter, but I find them to be much more reasonable. This is regime change. One regime is gone, another regime is gone, we're dealing with the third. Pieces of it, because some of them are gone too. And I find them, I think, how can you have a stronger regime change than that, So I do find that. I'd like to thank you all very much. We're doing great. Our country is doing fantastically well, and this group of people is outstanding. Thank you all very much.
Okay, that's all we need to know about. Oh, they're laughing. Will they do a thing? And some of the comments are just so ludicrous. Oh, Iran is winning. And I was like, oh, come on. They're in the bag before the first bomb dropped. Israel did not force the US into this war. Israel is doing what the US tells them. They're just using them as a little, they're making us do stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely preposterous. Very different people are in charge these days, and they have a large, very pro-US segment in Israel who've been fighting for a long time over this for the last 15 years in particular. Remember, the Israeli press and Jews are the ones who've been exposing what's been going on for the last 15, 20 years. Remember that. No UK media, no American media, Israeli media. Now, let's get into Mahmoud Ahmadinejad and what I said 4 months ago. Well, there's last man standing, but who will rule Iran? That wasn't it. Where are we? Ex-Iranian President Ahmadinejad claims Mossad infiltrated Iranian intelligence. That's why the clerics because they're all corrupt. The IRGC have billion-dollar Swiss bank accounts. The whole thing's fake. The whole thing. This is the one, Trump v. Iran. It's really Trump versus the EU. Made this over 4 months ago. Just a few quick segments.
This is Brendon O'Connell, the bell tower boy, in Tehran, the head of the funeral procession for former President Mr. Rafsanjani. Just remember, for the elites, the privileged elites of the West, United Kingdom, Australia, Europe, and
that guy was following us.
Oh, you want to know where I'm going before I do the Iran analysis, as I've been there, even if it was for...
All right, you can go and watch that yourself. Yeah, there's 1 million people. Rafsanjani died when I was there, and we were actually at the Tadrish markets when the ambulances all pulled up to a private hospital near there, and it was 1 million people. I was actually invited in to go and view his body, and where the Ayatollah was speaking, and I said, I can't do it. I'm having a panic attack. People were so packed. And I had to force my way out of it to the sides. And it was that many people. It was 1 million people. It was, it was freaky. It really was. This segment, what I'm talking about here.
As he said, that the Mossad is all through Iran. That's the real revolutionary. And I make a prediction. Here's a prediction for you. That Iran is not going down. Iran will be eased into a new transition. They can't do it fast. The current mob there of the president and so on are what you would call moderates. He's a heart surgeon, so he'd be trained in Oxford. They'll be complete rats for the City of London, Rothschild, just like Rouhani and Zarif. But here's the rub. They need someone who's going to appeal to hardliners and the IRGC, who will have to be killed off in large numbers to protect the more moderate government. They do not want Iran in tatters, they want Iran intact, and they want America to be popular. So what they want to do is get Iran away from Europe. Now, Germany is revered in Iran. You're not going to hear this unless you've been there. They worship Germany, they worship Angela Merkel, they also worship Adolf Hitler. Yes, they do. They do not believe Adolf Hitler killed a single Jew. There were some unfortunate things. So it's not like Iranians worship the slaughter of Jews. On the contrary, the place is full of Jews. They're all in Iran Press TV. They run it. Just remember, Iran Press TV has Israeli satellites. And when I complained, why aren't we talking about Talmud? Why aren't we talking about all these? Why do they just rag on Islam all day? And Muslims never hit back at the top levels, talking about all the filth of the Talmud, Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, Mishnah, Gemara, all the rabbinic commentaries. Why do you never hit back? And he came back the next day and said, he said, look, Iran Press TV will not push it or talk about it. And I said, why? And David T. Lashkari, the drugged up gay closet lawyer, said, because when they did do it, they lost their satellite for 2 years. And I said, what do you mean they lost their satellite? He said, it's an Israeli satellite. And I just went, what? And he said, well, probably all Israeli. That's a quote. They use Israeli satellites. The whole place is run by Israel. Okay, the nuclear program is not to threaten Israel. I'll tell you who the nuclear program, it's run by Israel, run through cutouts like South Africa and even Pakistan. And there's the old Israeli networks, the old Likud, the old Russian Israeli networks, City of London networks. Okay, you know who the nuclear weapons program is to threaten? It's to threaten Saudi Arabia. You don't know the animosity between the Saudi, the Arabs, the Sunnis, and Shia Islam within Iran. You don't know anything about it, so you don't get it. I never got it till I went there and realized that Iranians or Persians hate Arabs more than they hate Jews. And all I heard was, love Israel, love to trade with Israel, love the Shah, bring back the Shah. And that's all I heard all day and all night. And I went, well, this isn't exactly the brochure I was expecting. And I even asked about meeting former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, and they could see him going, oh, well, yeah, I hear it. Oh, yeah, he does accept visitors, yeah. And I just, man, they do not want me meeting Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. That is why the real deal has been banned, but he's the perfect replacement. He's got the respect of the hardliners, but he's also a reformer. I was told that General Soleimani slapped him in the face below the pyramid, you know, the building with the 33 windows, their pyramid parliament building. It's pure masonry there. Masonry is everywhere throughout Iran. I mean, it is everywhere, a bit like Mexico, actually, and the US, and everywhere else, in central London and the City of London. And because Ahmadinejad said, listen, we need to back off people's bedrooms, get out of their bedrooms, we have to look at hijabs.
Well, as you can hear, I'm in Tehran, and you can hear the oppressive music of the Ayatollahs and the Imams playing. I just stopped. It's really oppressive music. It's very trendy. Tehran is a very trendy place. As you can hear and see behind me, the women are looking incredibly oppressed.
We've got a demographic of 16 to 35-year-olds that are really agitating and they really want things to change. So we have to fucking do something about it. We cannot ignore this demographic. So with this in mind, Soleimani slapped him in the face. See, Ahmadinejad is not a fool. He's a civil engineer. He understands calculus, he understands mathematics, and he understands demographics. They have to reform. He's the perfect man for it. He's a realist, he gets it, but he's also strong, but he understands power. He's a Scorpio, he understands power. Just look at him here wishing everyone a Merry Christmas.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm excited to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, is the messenger of love, forgiveness, and peace.
Now, all the filthy clown show morons, all the reformers, they're always wearing their little turbans and shaking a fist. They are the whores, the absolute whores of Babylon. They're all closet homosexual, bisexual, pedophiles. They're all off to Switzerland for their Swiss bank accounts. Switzerland, I mean, think of it this way. The Ayatollah came out of a Paris commune. Ayatollah Khamenei did not come out of the Najaf desert. He ran from the Najaf desert. He ran for safety in Paris. Right? We just talked about the Syndicus movement, didn't we? All right, in Paris, he came from that French commune, a literal commune just outside Swingen, Paris, France.
Actually, it's an ordinary municipality. They call them communes in France.
In the late 70s, and he's accompanied by a German intelligence film crew on a Lufthansa flight, lands in Tehran.
It was an Air France flight. Yeah.
Hello, there's a bit of a clue.
He said that even if he were, he expected either to be assassinated or to lead his country.
By the way, he's not in on it. He's just the tool. They threw him out of Iraq. He had nowhere to go.
But at 10 minutes to 10, Khomeini was being helped down the steps of his chartered Air France jet to set foot on Iranian ground for the first time in 15 years. His first moments were uncomfortable ones, became increasingly nervous. Khomeini's name was the rallying cry that brought down the Shah.
You think the Jewish lobby in the United States is too powerful for the interests of Israel?
I think so. Sometimes they are disserving the interests of Israel because they're pushing around too many people.
How do you mean pushing around?
Well, pressuring. They have many means at their disposal. They are putting up pressure on many, many people. And at the end, I don't think that it will even help Israel.
Why, if this is true, why would the President of the United States pay attention to that lobby?
They are strong.
Strong in what sense?
They are controlling many things.
Controlling what?
Newspapers, medias,
Your Majesty,
banks, finances, and I'm going to stop there.
They're kept alive by euros, not US dollars, and they're in love with Germany and France. Because you understand the network, it's all Rothschild. Rouhani, former president, 6 years in Scotland. For God's sake, how many times have I repeated this about Rouhani being 6 years in Scotland studying Sharia law at a Scottish university of all places? You know the Jews of Scotland. You should really look it up. Scottish Rite Masonry. He's up there in his little turban with his little beard. All right, the guy's as religious as my big toe. Literally.
Now, the British government has turned down an invitation to attend the inauguration of the new Iranian president, Hassan Rouhani, despite indications he wants to reach out to Western countries to reduce tensions, not least over Iran's nuclear programme. Mr Rouhani has strong links with Britain. He was a student in Glasgow. From there, our World Affairs correspondent Richard Galpin reports.
Glasgow, not an obvious place for an Iranian cleric and senior politician to study.
He said, well, when you work for Rothschild, that's exactly where you study.
But in the 1990s, Hassan Rouhani came to Glasgow Caledonian University as a postgraduate student researching Islamic law. Known then as Hassan Feridun, he received his doctorate in 1999.
Hassan Feridun for a thesis entitled The Flexibility of Sharia Islamic Law with reference to the Iranian experience.
He'd done most of his research in Iran while Deputy Speaker of Parliament, but travelled regularly here to the university to discuss his thesis. Well, this is
I'm sure they were discussing many, many things. Gin and tonics and a few young boys on the Chesterfield lounges at the Chatham House.
The thesis which Mr Rouhani wrote, and the senior academics who supervised him say it does show he has a modern and reformist approach, which of course is very different from the hardline religious leadership which have dominated Iran for so long.
He's best friends with Jack Straw and Lord Levi. One step away from Lord Jacob Rothschild himself, and Whitney Webb was never going to tell you that, ever. And I mean ever. Let's get real. Zarif has a dual national US Iranian citizen. You think I'm joking? He has a green card. His kids were born in the United States and are US citizens. That's right. Zarif, the foreign minister, you better watch out, America. His kids are US citizens. I don't know how much more bullshit you can stand, but you've worked out Hamas are hanging out in five-star hotels in Qatar, next to the largest British and American airbase in the region. You've worked out it's all funded by the same people. Hezbollah's the biggest fraud ever. What? They just killed 3 leaders like that. Boom, 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 and they're all dead. How? How does Israel do that? Because they fucking run them all, that's why. The whole Islamic terror network is being torn down under orders. Now Trump is bringing down the old globalist narco-traffickers, all the Marano Jews that are down there. And unfortunately, he seems to be doing a deal with Chabad Lubavitch, who's running messages backwards and forwards to Europe, backwards and forwards to Russia and Putin, because they want Putin to remain in power and to do some dirty deals, i.e. rebuild Russia so that they threaten the Europeans nicely. Because this is the game. Keep them separate, Russia separate, China separate, and break it all up. You remember the Ayatollah talking about the multipolar world order, right?
Okay. You'll remember all that, but it needs to be watched again and need to be reminded. So now you're hearing about all of this sort of... Now that's the Ayatollah, by the way, about to tell you how much he loves the multipolar world order, just like Kissinger loves it, just like Jared Kushner loves it, just like Xi Jinping loves it, just like Vladimir Putin loves it, Gerhard Schroeder loves it, on and on. And you have Gerhard Schroeder over here being reported... Good old Gerhard Schroeder, Putin's pick for Ukraine peace talks. People, it's all just fallen into place. I'm right again. Hey, Alex Craner, have you worked it out yet, bro? All you Putin bros, the tummy kissing Putin, have you worked it out? Oh, geez, I'm going to crow like a rooster. Seriously, I'm going to crow like a rooster. So Trump reportedly asked Muslim Arab leaders to normalize ties with Israel if Iran deal reached. The request was met with silence on call with Middle Eastern leaders. Axios reports it comes as Israeli officials set alarm that emerging deal does not serve Israel's interests. It's going to serve US interests, and it's going to get the EU, just as they got Russia out of the Middle East, out of Syria, they're completely removed now. And they'll be removed from Africa now. And again, Putin knows this. He's always going for leverage. And I presume they're going to leave him in and Xi Jinping, and they will use them to be the official enemies of the day and rebuild Russia. That's why people said, oh no, with the Straits of Hormuz closed, Russia's going to feed China oil. That's right. They want to rebuild Putin and Russia. But I don't know. Putin's in a very precarious situation, and he's not looking good. And we'll see what they finally decide to do. But all his best generals are dead. His officer corps is decimated. Slavs yet again being killed at unprecedented rates. I hope someone's happy. Someone seems to have a hard-on for killing as many Slavs as possible. I'm not sure who that might be, but I can guess. I guess they need a space to dump all the Hasidim around the world in one spot. But yeah, I agree. It is a primary objective. And the Slavs have to suffer again. It seems the Slavs are going to suffer over 100 years of this garbage. I think it's time the Slavs caught a break, don't you think? But let's find this little segment with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. You can see the European media here having this is Bloomberg, which is linked in with the European media, I might add. They're all having a good giggle.
Tell us just how close really are we to a deal this time?
Yeah, it seems like we're always close to a deal and the deal doesn't materialize. This time we have a lot of positive indications, this memorandum of understanding, as you said.
Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they mock it a lot. And Trump's trolling. It's part of the deal. It's the psychological warfare program. We get to this article on the 20th of May. New York Times, Israeli developed plans sought to have Ahmadinejad run Iran after Khamenei killed. There was not an Israeli plan. It was a US plan. They are trying to get Ahmadinejad killed. All right? Bibi and Likud are trying to get Ahmadinejad killed. He would be killed for treason if he was talking to them. I don't believe for a second he was ever talked to directly. Patrick Bet-David was going to do an interview with him a day before the strikes began. He'd already spoken to him on a Zoom call in Farsi, as Patrick Bet-David said, who's Army intelligence, I might add. And the next day, the war started. So exactly how that all transpires. But again, we go back to January, Mark Carney, Keir Starmer, desperate, running to China, and Mark Carney saying, the Bantam Rooster, the London central banker, that pathetic piece of garbage, saying, we need a seat at the table. We have to get everyone together, including Mexico. And Claudia Sheinbaum, you start lining up with the World Economic Forum, Sheinbaum is a French, right? She's a French construct, Sheinbaum. You're going to find the whole of that Morano party is links into France. You look, you just say, oh, it's the cartels. The links are into France and the Rothschilds. Everywhere you go in Mexico City, and Mexico City's damn beautiful, I might add. So if you ever want to go on a tour from the outside, go to Mexico City. You'd be surprised. That place is pumping. It's stunning, clean, safe. But anyway, it's another story. Well, Scheinbaum did a pretty good job. Let's give her credit as the mayor of Mexico City. But now she's there taking her orders, and you see her trying to team up with Carney. They all know the game's over, but they're trying to get leverage. They're all trying to get leverage. America's just laughing at them all. So they're all trying to get together. As Carney said, we either get a seat at the table or we are on the menu. And now Canada proudly says, we are sending gas and oil or gas to Germany. Yeah, but you don't have any shipping ports on your East Coast. They're all on the West, because Mark Carney and his zero carbon refused to build them. So that's pretty funny. Anyway, it's kind of laughable, sad and pathetic what's going on. This is like this last World Economic Forum, EU, UK, City of London gasp, but they're just trying to get a little bit of leverage just for a bit of a better deal, and they're just going to get decimated. That's why you see Trump, well, we'll try to get a deal. Trump's fine, but America is wholly independent of oil and gas. Sure, prices go up, but you're not going to have shortages. It's not going to decimate the whole economy. So they're just stretching this out. Oh, will we get a deal? Won't we get a deal? It's so complicated. They know exactly what they are doing. Exactly. Now the US dominates the Straits of Hormuz. Just as they pushed Russia out of Syria, now they're going to push the EU, globalist, Rothschild networks out of the Middle East completely, including that pressure point, the Straits of Hormuz. And now, no Abraham Accords. Oh no, looks like Israel will need a lot of protection. And that's why I made you that picture of the map with Hegseth corralling everyone in. Let's all be friends now. Naughty, naughty, no more naughty BB. That game is over. The only people that want the United States out of the Middle East, and especially to stop attacking Iran, is Lord Jacob Rothschild, may he rest in hell wherever he is, with his cousins and friends, Evelyn de Rothschild, David de Rothschild, and that whole City of London Canary Wharf network, that private intelligence service, that private banking cartel, that unlimited wealth, the EU, the Hofjuden, the old British Empire, the old noble families of Europe. Once you understand that concept, you will understand how the world works. And I've done it in previous videos. And you will see how they owned Iran. They owned Iran. Now they are being ejected so that Iran will be in the sphere of US elites, and Ahmadinejad's going to go, fine, bring your development. You're going to backdoor us anyway, so you might as well do it officially through you, whether it's China or City of London. Let's go with the US. And the US will dominate that region. Dominate. The US dollar ain't going down. US is not going anywhere. The military is going to get more powerful. That's wonderful news. The foundation is being laid for a strong, powerful America. America. Trouble is, America, you appear to be developing a giant techno-oligarchy AI death machine. And there lies the problem. And just to let you know, I'll do a special on it. You're not waiting for the AI is actually not about surveillance at all. You're already being surveilled for 20 years. They've already psychologically profiled you. You're already carrying around your mobile phone tracking device, which listens to you. You're already voluntarily doing that. You're voluntarily putting in every thought, every feeling. You're photographing your kids. You're putting everything online. I'm sorry, you think the techno-oligarchy is coming? No. You've been in it for 20 years. You and I have been in it. We're in it. We're on it. So let's just stop that. The AI is actually for AI. It will just have a secondary surveillance protocol, which is a worry. But the question not to ask is AI coming? No, it's coming. And it could be wonderful. It could be, wonderful. New material science, incredible stuff. And it will be. It can also be the death of all of us. That's the dichotomy. So what do we need? An engaged citizenry. Mary Silva, engaging in politics. Get down, sign up immediately to the Republican Party. I tell you, Democrats, but why bother? Okay, so we can start to ask the right questions. We don't want to end the Fed. You want to take over the Fed. The question is, who controls the Fed? So we don't ask the right questions. Who controls the AI? Instead of, the AI is going to kill us all. How about who controls it? An engaged citizenry. No better country on the world to control it than the United States, with a constitution that matters. But America, the Constitution doesn't just appear spontaneously with the fairies and the leprechauns and the magical wood fairies. You got to bleed for it. It's not free. It takes time. It takes energy and even blood. And convincing the average person, you can see they're in a daze, man. I mean, not my audience, but the average person's in a daze. They can't even conceive of engaging in politics, signing up in the Republican Party. All right, and you got to stop being in this cult of Trump. So anyway, I hope you now understand the Straits of Hormuz a little better. I'm on the record 1,000 times. Look how many times I've been right, ladies and gentlemen. 2020, I'm saying you're going to have to invade and put bases in Israel. Well, guess what? They're invading and putting bases in Israel. We remember the US Army War College the day before 9/11 on September the 10th, 2001 said, we need to invade Israel with 2 Marine divisions. Well, it's happening. And at the same time, there was an audit of the Pentagon. Donald Rumsfeld with Rabbi Dov Zakheim. Let's have an audit of the Pentagon. And next day, boom. So watch out, America. And now Pete Hegseth, God bless him, is saying there's going to be an audit of the Pentagon by 2028. Wait a bit, where is it? Where is it? Here it is. What do you reckon? You never know. I think it might happen. I mean, the chief auditor, the chief lawyer will be Colonel Andrew Kern, and I went out with the sister. Yeah, I was a bit mean in that post I put. I will take down those nasty stuff. But what I was trying to make a joke about, Laura Loomer, everybody hates Trump, including Colonel Andrew Kernan. Why don't you get rid of him? I wanted to taunt him a bit. Andrew Kernan seems like a very nice, honest person. So God bless him. I hope he does his job. The reason is it's public interest. That's why I posted it, because I'm being approached by the highest levels. I need money, just like everybody else. I'm in a foreign country, and no, I'm not going to starve. And I have more cheesecake than you'll ever eat, and I have more disposable income. But I've decided I want a life. I really did. I want a normal life. Sorry about that. Anyway, I digress. But these are all the wonderful things that are happening with all these caveats. But just say, yes, strong, powerful America. And it's strong, man. Oh, the US dollar's crashing. We've done the graphs. We've got the bond yields. Come on, Ebola's coming. What next? When are you going to drop the fear porn and understand you need to get angry at these people? I'm not saying kill them. Be nice sometimes. I often feel like it. But what I am asking you to, and I'm being serious, what you need to understand is these people are going to get you killed. Like, the stakes are very high for everybody on this planet, especially for the United States. And if you keep thinking that these people don't know exactly what they're doing, there's 2 classes. There's the grifter, and then there's the planned. And sometimes they merge grifter, planned. And they are trying to scare you to death and distract you. And you need to say to someone, if you know these people, if you attend meetings, if you're at Turning Point USA or whatever, CPAC, you need to go to these people and just say, look, dude, I'm tired of your bullshit. And you're threatening me and my family now. And they need to look into your eyes and go, oh, there may be physical consequences to continuing my bullshit. And when they get that message, when they start to fear the people and 300 million firearms, you might actually find them stopping. They're going to be hard to find recruits. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. They need to fear. They don't fear anything. They fear you're going to get on there and, I'm very upset on my YouTube channel. So they just laugh at you. But when they actually see people attending meetings saying, I'm with a microphone saying, ladies and gentlemen, I'm deeply worried about this for my children, and these people are lying to this, and there needs to be consequences. And you need to say it in a nice, deep, resonant voice so their little brains get the message. Because, there's 150,000 serving and retired, fit, under 60, under 50, serving and retired special forces, let alone retired military personnel generally. And when they really wake up, and they're slowly waking up, I would not want to be one of these little rats, because they're dead. They're probably going to get killed, murdered. The system will dispose of them, just as the Islamic terror network is being disposed of, just as you're going to see a lot of the organized crime and these cartels wiped out, because they're artificial constructs. And so too with their rats, their Nick Fuentes, closet homosexual, vile, disgusting little rats. They're gonna get rid of these people. They're gonna start killing them. There'll be home invasion gone wrong, truck, whatever. All right, so they better watch their back, and they need to understand there will be consequences one way or the other, just as there were for the Stasi agents, where a lot of scores were settled in the back alleys of Berlin when the wall fell, and they got hold of the records of who was saying what to who. And these people need to fear something. Let's look at the bases going into Israel. You will, of course, remember this. Israel set to invite US to move some Middle East bases to country and establish new ones. That's the 29th of March, 2026. Israel is set to invite the United States to relocate some of its bases in the region to Israel and to establish new bases in the country after the current war is over. Do you think this is small news from the Times of Israel? What do you think's going on here? Well, it's going to be the Abraham Accords. It's going to be peace. What do they need more US bases in Israel for? Oh, you're getting it. I'll be right again.
And one final thing. Sounds a bit extreme, but I'm being deadly serious. Immediately land 2 Marine divisions in occupied Palestine. Eject all of the Jewish extremist settler movement back to Russia. Disarm the Israeli state and create a secular government with equal representation for Jews, Christians and Muslims. Dismantle the Israeli military-industrial complex and high-technology sector and transport it all back to the United States. Let's cease letting them direct the debate. There are people in high places supporting us. They will act and move quietly according to the public mood, so get moody, in all the right ways and in all the right places. Focus your information energies on the United States military, the men and women with the guns and the lawful authority to use them. We have 10 years before we face autonomous killing machines on our streets. Let's get moving.
Change the story, change the lead. It's not a new concept. Change the story, change the lead. It's not a new concept. Wait till we touch that, we'll talk more about it.
We can't afford a war.
We're not going to have a war. We're going to have the appearance of a war.
We cannot afford the appearance of a war.
What'll it cost?
But they would find out.
Who's going to find out? The American people.
Exactly.
Who's going to tell them?
Do you agree with Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mulvaney, that the coronavirus is the hoax of the day?
I may get timings wrong, but I'll be right again. Or the clown show don't laugh so hard these days, do you, clown show? That's all right. Brendon's time is coming. The issue's time is coming. And along with it, my time is coming. I like to gloat. You know why? Because I like to say to ordinary people, you don't have to be an expert to understand how the world works. You need to understand you're being lied to on a continual, never-ending basis. And good, organic people are hard to find. This is another important one here. Very important. I know many of you have seen it before, but I've got to keep repeating this stuff. US Tech Park in Negev may have nuclear power plant. In discussions on an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding, it's just like there's no contract, it's just a memorandum of understanding. For a US you got to understand the language, you got to understand Israel. No one administers nothing in Israel. If you ain't a Jew, if you're not administering nothing in Israel, no filthy goy allowed to administer, own nothing. But listen to this. In discussions on, this is 26th of January, all right? So they knew this was coming. The war hadn't started yet on the Straits of Hormuz. All right, that's what I mean. The timing of Mark Carney, Keir Starmer running to China, desperate. We need a seat at the table or we're on the menu. They knew the Straits of Hormuz was coming from their networks that are deeply penetrated the United. They knew. They were panicking, terrified. So when you see someone saying, Iran, America needs to get out of Iran, it's a disaster. When you see that, they work for the City of London. That includes you, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson. That includes you. Boo Israel. Boo the Jews. Oh, genocide bad. Oh, you just woke up to the genocide. Not the 400 genocides before then. Not Operation Cast Lead, where 20 to 30% of Gaza was leveled and 30,000 Palestinians were murdered. Oh, you didn't see the genocide then. You just woke up because TikTok was unleashed. And now you got to trim the sails and you got to capture the market with your good friend Rupert Murdoch. You are the skunk works of Rupert Murdoch. You are the skunk works for the City of London, Heinz Kissinger. That's who you work for, you filthy, dirty little horse. Boo Israel, boo the Jews. And they just go squawk, squawk, bark, 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 bark. And it's just a big circus. On with the circus, isn't that right, Pete? But nothing ever happens. And Basif Yosef, who I used to like, he was funny, and he's just a useless piece of garbage, like the rest of them. Oh, look, he's over here. Oh, look, Bassem, there's a big fight, and Candace and Anna, the little hoes, the little failed porn stars and actresses. Oh, I'm so shocked. Boo, genocide. Buy my coffee. Coffee mugs are on sale. Another $1 million, another $2 million, another $3 million, another $5 million. They could just tell you who did 9/11, but why do that? They could just tell you about the Rothschilds. Why do that? Little mention of Kabbalah here, little mention of Ari Emanuel. Tell us about Ari and Rahm Emanuel. Come on. No, you're just going to get drama, and Candace is going to debate what colour underpants was Charlie Kirk wearing. Candace, we must know. We must know. You're just spinning you in circles. Vladislav Surkov will control all parties and will just give them big, meaningless, spectacular fights on the internet, and you'll cheer and buy their coffee mugs and you'll go to their advertisers. Yeah, you'll get it. Slowly. You'll get it. Because, after all this is over, we'll move on to the next crisis and you won't even remember Palestinian genocide. You'll just be on to the next crisis and they'll be there telling you, oh, I'm so angry. These people need to be held accountable. Yeah, I'm asking them to fear retribution from ordinary people and professional killers of the special forces community. I'm asking them to really seriously think about who they really work for. Cenk Uygur, all that Soros money. Okay, back to the bases in Israel. So the US administered, you'll never hear that word said about Israel. US administered. Technology park, the possibility was raised of a nuclear reactor to supply its huge energy demands. So this is all Jacob Hellberg, Pax Silica. What did I said in 2012, where would the large language model Antichrist be? It'll be in Israel. 2012 with a badly broken arm from jail. I can't be bothered showing it where it is to people again. So under the MOU, the text of which has reached globes, Israel will grant the US a 99-year lease. Never happens, but it's happening now. On the land, although the area will remain under Israeli sovereignty, day-to-day running will be by the US, which will provide most of the investment. US and Israeli technology companies will work side by side in the park with the aim of setting up a global center for chip production, advanced computing, and AI development. That will then justify a giant US base, and it will be a giant lab. And they'll do research and development. If you get high security clearances from there, whether you're from Russia, Ukraine, one of their brilliant scientists, whoever, you will be allowed to go to the US to be anally probed going in and anally probed going out, new security clearances. This is really a giant military takeover of Israel. Israel will be a literal protectorate of the United States, a bit like Costa Rica. I told you it was happening, and I guarantee you it is happening, and it is not stopping. It's just the last gasp of the pathetic City of London networks to get a better deal. They know the game's over now. But I said it's a Catholic orphanage, and before the children were raped, they were beaten, they were battered, they had crappy porridge. Now with the new American elites running the Catholic orphanage, the children will still be raped, but they will be lubricated, they will have Xboxes, they will get lollipops, the food is much improved, there's going to be a beautiful renovation of the Catholic orphanage, but you're still going to be raped. That's where we are now, but it'll give you time to breathe, God willing, move forward, because not everyone's evil. We've got to get political before the automated systems get in there. I'm actually optimistic, but I will say depends on coffee consumption. Times I'm not. I haven't been optimistic for 2 weeks. I'm in fact been pretty depressed, as have many of you, for multiple reasons, my own personal reasons and other reasons. But there is hope, and they're just going to try to scare you to death. So I just wanted to sum up Straits of Hormuz and Iran, how early adopter I was, how I was actually leading narratives. So I actually know what I'm talking about because I know how the system works. Once you know how the system works, once you're out of the Hollywood drama crap and just realize there are a bunch of half-wits half the time with some pretty fancy equipment, you can start to think for yourself. You will literally ask simple questions. Why is Hamas in 5-star hotels in Qatar next to the largest US-UK airbase in the world? I don't understand. Oh, why is Bibi funding Hamas? Why do they always kill off all their leaders like that? Why did Hezbollah just get decimated? Because they run and control them. How do you send billions and billions of dollars around the banking system and no one knows where it's going because they made an LLC and the NSA is confused? They know exactly where it all is because they run them all. All the terrorists, there's not an organic terrorist organization. All the cartels, all the organized crime are run by that same extensive private network. That extensive private network. And it's now being dismantled. They're going to dismantle the war on drugs. But it's going to take time because the US and the whole world is utterly dependent on liquid cash flows of drug money. And then you have the prison industrial complex. That has to be addressed. Mary Silva is writing speeches right now. She's absolutely exhausted. That's what's making me so angry as well. She just gets no help. No help. I had good chats with a few people and, it's going to change. It is going to change. Just got to hang in there. Things are slowly changing. I am optimistic, but there's obviously big problems. Big problems. Let's just get the US strong and let's understand now how they're weakening China. Remember, China is the City of London. China is the World Economic Forum. And the EU was to combine European, UK high technology with Russian raw resources. They're all assets of the City of London, Chinese manufacturing, and they were moving that whole cyber tech infrastructure, AI, into the Middle East. Now the US will dominate. Hopefully it'll say a few apologies afterwards and get some compensation into the right hands, and the Arabs can catch a break. Maybe even the Slavs can catch a break. How about that? They've 100+ years of this garbage. Someone sure loves killing Slavs. And they often said Hitler hated Slavs more than he hated Jews. And again, you start to understand Gerhard Schroeder, World Economic Forum. Gerhard Schroeder's on the board of Rothschild. Someone tell Alex Craner, it's one picture. It's one picture. No, dude, it's 300 news articles. Please stop. And it's in history books. Please stop. Okay, let's do closing arguments. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place. I have a gigantic script and I'm finishing it. You're going to have a voiceover in a week. But I want to do some fancy graphics. I'm learning how to do AI maps, some moving maps. I want to get the production quality way up, but we'll get there eventually. There's a few things happening, but we'll get there. So I hope you now understand actually, we should go back one second. I actually did find this pretty interesting.
Huge gas explosion that obliterated an apartment building in Dallas. We're going to show you right now. Huge flames. Look at that thick black smoke. Our Dallas station reports that 11 people who live in the complex cannot be accounted for right now. At least 4 people have been hospitalized. Let me show you now a live look at the scene. That's it. I mean, there is nothing left. It's just debris at this point. You can see it's still smoking. It's charred. There is a huge push from emergency.
Have a good close look at that. This so reminds me of when Putin was blowing up apartment blocks in Moscow, blame on the Chechens, to get him in power. It's the same old thing. I know a little bit about infrastructure. There's no high-pressure gas pipelines in residential areas, unless there happened to be a big, giant, high-pressure gas pipeline there. To do that amount of damage, I mean, it's blown apart. I mean, it's brick and mortar. It's not just timber. It has some timber aspects, obviously. To blow something apart like that? I don't know, but that's pretty interesting. Ebola, please don't worry about it. If there's going to be any, there may be a virus release, but it'll be contained to India and China because they want to get their populations under control. It'll be quite contained. Don't worry about it. If you're in America, just for a message for Americans, I don't know about the rest of the world, but you're going to be fine. So now get that out of the way. Okay. Maybe job losses, ups and downs. Did you survive 2008? This will be nowhere near 2008. You're going to be fine. It's going to be a lot of things. Just focus on the things you can change. Let's change cameras and do the summary. Just focus on the things you can really change. Number 1, there's time. You're going to be fine. Get down to your local Republican meetings and just hang out. Don't do anything. Just make friends. I'm angry, I'm worried about this. Keep in touch with Mary Silva. She can tell you, show you speeches and things. We've, of course, got Lee doing all these flyers still. It's always linked below, and you can start to change things. Straits of Hormuz is fine. They're going to tell you aliens are coming. They're going to tell you asteroids are coming. This news cycle is not going to let up anytime soon. As Bannon said, we're just going to ram it non-stop and keep everyone destabilized, the media destabilized. This is a coup. They're running a counter coup, what they would say. Nothing is perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wind that up. How long is that going for? 59 minutes, under an hour. All right, I'm surprised someone said you have really high engagement. 20, 25 minutes is actually a lot. Most people are 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes if they're lucky. That means the average viewer is watching nearly 20, 25 minutes of my video. That's good engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, please stop panicking. Please understand. Limit what you watch. Just ignore them and just focus on things that matter. which is sending me as much money as possible. Coffee mugs coming soon. No, we will get coffee mugs happening. We will get swag because I just love pulling the piss about that. I've got to practice my AI. Lee's teaching me a lot of stuff so we can generate it locally on our own computers. We don't need the internet at all. Lee's doing the training models, but we also I want to do things like maps and map movements and stuff like that because they deliberately make it crappy online. But we'll see how it works. We'll see how it goes. And God willing, we can get some production values up. We haven't lost the internet yet completely, and there's still room for movement. There's still a lot of good people out there, and they've contacted us repeatedly in the military serving, retired, State Department. You've seen the level of the people that have contacted me personally, and Mary is talking to high-level Republicans all the time. We're all still here. There's your problem. Just remember all the negative, horrible assholes online who aren't even working against you. They're just horrible because they're anonymous. And normally no one would like them. They'd commit suicide in normal life, but they've got a new lease of life on the anonymous internet to give them meaning. They're just horrible. Every time you will move politically and you move to make things better, they're going to tear you down. They're going to call you everything. And that's just the horrible asshole people there are out there. Then there's going to be people that are going to support. And then, of course, you have your operatives. It's falling apart slowly but surely. But I think it's time the orange clown left. When they choose to do that, I don't know. But obviously the problems with Epstein, the ethical, moral, legal and everything else, the outright corruption of all sides right now, it's like, and the deception is just next level, and people are gonna rebel. People are gonna rebel. Ladies and gents, please keep your chin ups. It's not all lost. America's going to remain strong. Remember, if America's strong, from that little lighthouse, that pilot light, that candle, we're protecting that candle. The liberty's still there, so we can light the lighthouse, the pilot light of liberty worldwide. I believe it's going to happen. I really do. I believe a lot of good things are going to happen despite all the fear porn. But does that mean Bible prophecy doesn't unfold? I believe it will unfold, but not in the way you think. And we'll discuss that in future videos. But we have time now to be elders, to have our own oral law, our own oral tradition, so we can start to educate slowly but surely. It just takes that small little virus to infect the whole body politic. And slowly it is happening. But I admit it's frustrating. I get depressed sometimes, multiple reasons. The situation, where, just other things, the tensions in Mexico. It's difficult for foreigners sometimes. You can feel the tension. But I promise you, you're going to be okay. And we have time. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with the great F. Scott Fitzgerald for inspiration and the great Bill Cooper. Just hang in there. We're going to be fine. Talk soon. F. Scott Fitzgerald, quote, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless and yet be determined to make them otherwise. This philosophy fitted on to my early adult life when I saw the improbable, the implausible, often the impossible, come true."
What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American because that's what it's all about, and it's the only thing that it's all about, nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom. Only freedom.